Good evening, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call to order the regular meeting one of the Swatara Township Board of Commissioners. It's May 6th at 7:03 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated. Secretary Savage, could you do roll call, please?
Commissioner Douglas,
Here.
Commissioner Rye,
Here.
Commissioner Connolly,
Here.
Vice President Steele,
Here.
President Ellis.
Here.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. We did not have an executive session this evening. We are up to item 6, visitors' requests and comments. If you have comments, you'll come to the podium, you'll write your name and address down as well as state them for the public. You may begin. Please be mindful of trying to keep the comments to 3 minutes or less. And we will do comments for about 30 minutes and then we'll move on to other items. And then we have a second visitors' requests and comments section at item 15. If that is something that is necessary. So you may come forward and begin if there's anyone that has comments. Just go ahead, write your name and address first. Yep. And then you'll state it as well, and then you can begin.
My name is Stephanie Dodge, and I live on 91 Riverview Street. And my comments are about the proposed data center at the Dolphin Highlands Golf Course. I did see that you guys have created an ordinance. I wanted to inquire if there was anything being done more as far as like a code or any specifications for the data centers to follow, because I know that in other areas, it seems like they're experiencing the same issues with them wherever they're put in. So I didn't know if there was going to be any type of an ordinance or code about like where they're going to get their water, how that is going to happen. I know that they use a lot of water. They're also very big and impervious, so they're also going to create a lot of runoff water. Power, where they're going to get the power from, if they would be responsible for any upgrades. I know I do construction inspection, and so I know usually if there's a development or something going in, studies are done. The developer pays to upgrade the systems going into their development. I didn't know if we are looking at anything like that. And also, as far as a noise ordinance, I know some of them, there's been problems with them as far as like having the generators are supposed to be for backup power, but then they're allowed to run them 14 hours a day. So I just wanted to kind of see where we're at in the process with this. I know that was a lot. Sorry.
If you like, I
Go
can
ahead.
address
Yep.
some of those. Stephanie, those are good questions. First, just to kind of set the stage, under Pennsylvania law, all municipalities or each municipality has to have a place for every use. And so we didn't have any rules on the books at all about where this was to be. So the purpose of the ordinance was to quickly get some rules in place. So it designated the uses for a particular zoning district, and now we have basically 2 sites in that zoning district where they're permitted, and so the township kind of got ahead of things, got ahead of the issue by acting early and getting something in place, or otherwise, we might have got a development plan or proposal for a data center without any rules in place. The ordinance itself has, I think, a lot of essential terms that they have to meet in order to site themselves in that area. But the main thing to think about is this is going to be like a typical land development plan. Once one is filed, and neither one has been filed yet, they still have to go through all of the essential elements. And so it's a big building. A lot of electricity goes in, and light packets come out on a fiber optic cable. And they use water and they discharge water just like any other development, although the scale of each of those things can be different and sometimes larger. So with the land development process, Zach Golden here will receive the plan and look it over and, is there an authority or a water company that will, that has said, yes, we can serve it. So that'll be determined by the water provider. We're just making sure that there is a water provider who has looked at the issue and who has determined that there's adequate water. Same thing with the wastewater. What's your plan? Where's the wastewater going to go? Who's going to treat it? Just like any other land development process. The power is handled completely by other entities than us. For a big user like that, they've already, I think, made an application to PP&L and said, here's our anticipated load. Do you have the ability to serve that load? And, any issues that involve the adequacy of service or for the PUC or maybe PJM and FERC to look at, but not the township. So I think where the township has jurisdiction, it's acted and has some rules in place. And then subsequently, as we get into more granular detail that you're familiar with as a inspector along the way, the land development plan process will bring a lot of scrutiny on each of those things, and the public will have a chance to see the plans and comment on them, etc.
Okay, and then my next question would be, I know Provident, the sale was dependent on them finding a power source, and that date has come and passed. Have they reached out or updated you guys at all, or is it just kind of like still waiting to hear back from them?
As far as I know,
I guess our position there is no land development
Yeah.
plan whatsoever before Swatara Township.
Yes.
Only thing we did was create the ordinance to put it in place so there would be protections in place. We have no other information from Swatara Township because they haven't put forth a land development plan.
Okay, so did Provident purchase Dauphin Highlands, or is that all contingent?
That would be the general authority, which is the county, not the township.
Okay.
And then the other piece of property is a private seller.
Yeah, I saw the other ones, but the Dauphin Highland one wasn't the one I was looking at. And you were saying that there's some of this laid out in the ordinance. The ordinance that I saw was fairly small. Is that what we're referring to though, or is there more information that I didn't find?
no, there's a specific ordinance that has to do with data centers themselves. But then other than that, we have a complete subdivision and land development ordinance. And so
Okay,
any
so it's the two of
just like
them.
any other project, it has to follow all those rules. So the township only has a certain amount of scrutiny over these things. We don't control every aspect of them. But when they submit or if they submit a land development plan, then it'll be processed in due course, per our existing rules.
Okay. All right.
Great question.
Thank you.
Great questions. Because I have some of the same. Great ones.
All right. Yes, thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure I'll have more. So
We're here.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Steph. Hello.
Hear me.
Okay.
You're at the right one now, huh?
Is this the same for everyone who passed it out? Yes. Okay.
My name is Lynn Clark, and I run Family Fresh Food Pantry. We've been in United Methodist Church for the past 3 years. The reason I'm here today is because I'm trying to apply for the Dauphin County Gaming Commission grant. And according to their rules, I need to ask the township if they would sponsor, evidently, for the 27 year, not for 26. 26 was already issued as of the beginning of this month, but they have not given us any applications to apply for 27. I have the state representative has written me a letter of needs and so forth. In here, I'm not going to go through it all, but in here you will see our growth, how many people we feed, about 150 families a week. Not 150 people, 150 families. I have to rent a U-Haul truck at least twice a month to go and pick up the food that's supposed to be free, but that comes out of my pocket. I don't have a budget to work with. So this is why I'm so actively trying, and I'm talking to the they sell trucks used. Would you donate? I'm a nonprofit.
Right.
You know, so I mean, I'm trying to do that aspect too. And the food is not free. I have to buy food to serve to my people. So this is why it's really imperative. And we're getting more and more the apartment, I mean, what are they called? The motels.
Mhm.
I have people coming to me from there. They have no other way to get, they walk to us
Yeah.
and walk
Gotcha.
back. So we're really needed here. I had it
Yep.
for 6 years in Steelton, and then the church offered me theirs, so that's why I moved.
Gotcha.
But the people have followed me from Steelton, from Oberlin, from many places, and I've gone to the school and talked to the school, asking them to put in the newsletters to parents. We're here, we're available, because I've found children that aren't getting enough food,
Yeah.
and seniors, and many others. So that's what I came to ask. And if you guys could review this and let
Yep.
me know when to come back for an answer, or
Absolutely.
there's an email, or
Yep.
you know, however you want to do it from here.
Yeah.
Okay? Thank
We'll-
you very
we'll
much.
get-
Thank you.
So
While
say-
while you're up there, the county obviously is gonna run the program, so they're gonna have, important dates and things like that, so you wanna check with them.
I did.
Get your, letter of support, and then when you.
September 1 is when I have to have it, so that's why I came in.
Yep.
Right, yeah, prior to that.
Very proactive.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So, okay, so you're familiar with that, and.
Oh, I went to classes from them.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
last
and
year.
then, they'll have a pre-conference before their, application process, so all
Right.
those things will help you with the points and the
Yes,
process.
yes, I've already done
But, I mean,
all that.
From what I already know and what
Yeah.
you've given us, this is something that, I can only speak for myself right now, but I don't see.
I don't see
any
an
reason
issue.
to think
Yeah.
that you're not going to get.
Well,
From
I want to
Yeah.
present this.
Right.
And I'd like
We
to invite
appreciate it.
anybody to come. And I think the one lady out there comes as a client, and that's fine.
Yeah.
We don't turn anybody away for any reason.
Yeah.
We also could use help once in a while too.
Yeah.
Unloading trucks
And
and so forth.
just, the woman you're talking about out there, she also goes to Crossroads Christian, and she gets the food and she passes that out to people
Oh,
in
wonderful.
her area. So we're
I'd
familiar.
like to hang a sign up here just for people.
Sure.
Or if you guys
We
want
can put it on the, your schedule. We can put it in advance on a township page or get it out.
Every Wednesday we're there.
Yeah.
Every
Okay.
Saturday now too. So
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name's Jaron Wagner. My husband Damon and I live at 1210 High Spire Road. We were lucky enough to be invited to go along on the bus trip with the township on Monday to go see Data Center Alley in Loudoun County, Virginia, and we really appreciate that opportunity and the opportunity to talk to Mr. Connolly and some of the other township people. I want to reiterate what was already said earlier about residents' concerns about the data center. We understand that a proposal has not been formally submitted at this point. However, once a proposal for data centers is formally submitted, the township no longer has the right to change any zoning ordinances to protect our community. That's why it's essential now to rewrite the ordinances to include any and all protections for residents and businesses. During the bus trip, Mr. Connolly assured us that the agreements with a data center could be written with a developer to require noise buffers and other mitigating features to protect the residents, and that things like community benefit agreements could be enacted to have the developer invest in our community, like purchasing fire trucks for the fire department, be responsible for upgrading the energy grid so that the residents don't have to pay higher energy bills. But these are merely agreements that the developer doesn't necessarily have to agree to at all. As long as they are following the zoning ordinances in place, they are not required to go above and beyond if they don't want to. So we need to write these requirements in the zoning ordinances now so that any development has to comply with them if they want to build a data center here. Taken from another township that is facing similar issues, a statement was made that says, to make a community benefit agreement mandatory through a conditional use permit, the zoning ordinance has to say so directly and tie it to clear approval standards. In Pennsylvania, conditional uses are decided by the governing body pursuant to express standards and criteria set forth in the zoning ordinance, which means the municipality cannot just invent the requirement on the fly at the hearing. It needs to be written into the code in advance. So my request as a resident is, how can we beef up our ordinances so that we're not only protecting us, but that we're also ensuring that community benefit agreements are going to be written into the code so that the development has to comply with that. Our other request is that the township be much more transparent about this whole process, because I just keep hearing everybody asking the same questions. If there could be a central website page or a newsletter sent out that delineates everything that you know thus far, all of the information that you have gathered, how you're going to be protecting the residents if a data center comes in, address all of our concerns. What's going to happen to our well water? What's going to happen to our energy bills? Because I do have family in other parts of the country where their energy bill has nearly doubled because of a data center that went in next to them. And these are myths versus facts that need to be cleared up. And it's your responsibility to the residents to try to set those things straight for us. Thank you so much. And thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you. And I just want to add, each time we get information on land development and projects, that's going to be public. And we are pretty good at posting those things and announcing meetings and things like that. So to this point, most of the questions are what ifs. And we can't answer what ifs because we don't know. But one of the things I think we had talked about is someone else's ordinance had about 6.5 pages in it of information for water that would be drawn from the Susquehanna River Basin. Okay, so you can just say we have those 6.5 pages too, because that's going to be for water drawn from the. It's not specific to us. The sites that we designated, they would have to get public water. So if a situation like that would arise, then those same requirements would apply to us.
They're not specifically written into our ordinance?
I don't think
Because they're governed by someone else, but they are. They're the same rules that we would have here. And the same thing with, in some places, they're not going to be on public water. So if they're on public water, that's a utility and they're a customer. So if they're drawing from what would be a public source, a stream or a river, then there's a lot more regulations. But we have those regulations too. The other place that's not necessarily in the ordinance. So if you'll see all the environmental protection things are governed by other bodies.
Right.
So maybe since you've had contact with Zach, if you have that question, you could run that by him, and then he could direct you to who enforces that rule or who has the rule, and even give it to you. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be in our ordinance.
I understand that, but I think clearing that up for residents in a central location on the website or something like that, like frequently asked questions about what all is happening and why, and things that you I'm sure are getting emails about every day. If we could, get ahead of that and help educate people a little better.
Yeah,
I think I follow where you're going, because I've got some of the same questions, and one of the major ones are my mic's cut. Did my mic cut off? Power, right? That's the big thing. Swatara Township cannot regulate power, no way, shape, or form. I mean,
No, but could you put into a community benefit agreement that if our bills suddenly jump 50%, then they would have to step in and.
that's where I was going to get to. I'm going to take it in steps because I keep getting the same. No, it's fine, because I had some of the same questions and I do my own research. So power, we could make you feel better by putting it in an ordinance and saying we're going to regulate power. It would not be enforceable. It's enforced. We can't regulate anything over the power. We can't mandate anything over the power. That's totally, your rates are regulated. When the utility company wants to go to and raise their rates, they go to the PUC and request that. That's a state agency, right? We have no authority over that state agency. The same thing with the water. They're a public utilities company. That's another state agency. So for us to say to you that we had the authority to regulate that, that would be wrong. I'm with you 100%. The energy costs are through the roof. And a lot of the problem with the energy costs from some of my research, obviously you're doing research. I have residents sending me links and looking at things too. A lot of it's multi-factor. It's not just data centers. And I'm not defending data centers in no way, shape, or form. A lot of it's the grid, and then a lot of it's corporate greed. That's a lot of it. So here's what I would say as far as the power and the water. I think we need to start writing letters to our state legislator and the governor and the PUC, which I did see Shapiro just spoke out a little bit about it. And we need to get that fixed because the rates, the energy rates have been going through the roof totally. Now I think noise ordinance, I think we do have the ability to regulate that because we do have a new noise ordinance. I did see a resident had sent that to me. So if that's something that we need to look into. Now, another part of my research too is where we're talking about water. We don't know, we can't answer the question about water consumption because we don't know who that end user is going to be if it comes. Because there are some data centers that I found through my research don't even use water. They're air cooled, chilled cooled. So they wouldn't even touch the water. So that's where we're at with it, a lot of it. But I would say continue to do your research. Please send me emails or whoever wants the emails because most of my research I've gotten from residents sending me links to different ordinances or power data centers and things like that. So I appreciate that you're engaged. That helps it. That makes it much easier.
Any more information from the township
And I just want to be clear on something. We've already had situations where board members, I watch it and I've done it multiple times, where we see that the electric company is requesting a rate increase. We advocate for you. We oppose that. I do it personally. And then if I'm in this position, I say as Swatara Township Commissioner. Another example, when PennDOT and the governor thought it was a good idea to put a toll on the 83 bridge. They had public things. These are, again, state for the power. We still speak up for the residents, even if we're doing it for ourselves. So, like we have gone and there's submission forms, and they're going to raise rates 19%. We say no, our people can't afford that. We don't want that. And then what do? They raise it like 7%, and then 2 years later they raise it 7%. Now it's 21%, but at least you feel like you were heard in the process. We're not the people. Like if you ask me about the rates, I'll say what's lower, but I have nothing to do with it. So and it's the same thing. But if you follow the news, President Ellis, in her role as both a citizen and president's board, opposed the tolling of the 83 bridge. We saw that would cause people to bail out before they crossed the 83 bridge, put traffic in our township, and if we went over and back, you'd have to pay a toll. Whereas there was an 81 bridge, that left other communities. So we opposed that. She formed a group similar to a council of governments with West Shore communities that would be affected. And I mean, they went hard on that. And it was, it was a governor's proposal. It was the state who wanted to do that to raise money to fix the bridge. And we want the bridge fixed and we want it safe. But we also feel like all kinds of people are, crossing the bridge and other bridges. And it just seemed like it would be an adverse effect on our residents financially and traffic. So most of the things that you're bringing up, we already advocate for you when it comes to that. So there's not going to be a time where something's questionable about noise or water or power or anything like that that's proposed where I'm not going to, defend it. I'm going to be out in front. I do that, like, it might be annoying people, but I've done that my whole life, whether I'm sitting here or not. So I very well could have been in the audience tonight, with the same concerns, but I would take them to each body that is responsible. And coming to us, like we would be, able to pass information to you as we get it. But we're in a situation right now, no one is really telling us anything about the golf course. I was kind of shocked to find out they were that far in debt. I live on Harrisburg Street, farther down, and, I'd be fine if that was a golf course the rest of my life and my grandkids' life. But they're in debt, and they're selling the golf course. So they have, authority meetings, and then after that, there's going to be other things. So I think you're doing a great thing coming here and asking the questions, but we're not always going to have the answers. And I mean, I appreciate we just spent 8 hours together. I tried to answer every question you had without really, having all the information.
Right.
So
No, I appreciate everything you guys do for us and the service that you provide.
Can you, because I've tried to explain it to some residents, because some of the questions are, Scott, maybe you can explain it much better of why we had to put those protections in, and if we didn't, under the curative amendment, what actually could have happened if we didn't designate. Because I think that's, well, there's some other ones in here too that I receive emails from that I think that's the biggest concern is why did we make an ordinance, right? Because of the curative amendment that was,
Yeah, if someone
put-
proposes a use that's not provided for in the ordinance at all, then the developer has the opportunity to propose a curative amendment or demand that we do it. And basically, you run the danger in general terms of having a development that can go anywhere in the township or somewhere that the developer picks under rules the developer finds. Anyway, it was important for us to act to get something in place so that we could say, if there are going to be data centers, and remember the law requires that we have to provide for that use somewhere, here's where they're going to be, and here are the rules that they have to follow. So,
Yeah, we understand that, it was presented to us like this is a golden opportunity. This could bring millions of dollars to our schools, to our fire departments. We understand that. We just want to make sure that we're protected at the same time. And we know you're going to do that, but we would like more reassurance as to how that's going to happen.
yeah. I think one of the issues here is, all this energy comes in. I think people just presume that the township has, jurisdiction over all different parts of a potential development. But I think it's important to take the energy you have, like the questions on water issues or electric rates. That should be all aimed at the PUC.
No, mine was more specifically about community benefit agreements and like what we're
Right.
going to get out of this specifically, what the residents are going to get out of it, and how do we get that in writing before they
Yeah.
throw a proposal at us and say, too late,
Yeah.
lose.
Thank you.
So much.
No,
Thank you.
yeah.
Do we have any other visitors' requests and comments at this time? And I know you, you'll know this, but just for everyone else, if you do speak again, just try to be close to the mic because we have people listening and it's difficult for them to hear if we're not speaking into the microphone.
I was just going to say that there's an issue with the audio over here, but you can hear clearly with not being real close to your microphones there. So maybe get that kind of microphone for up here so people can hear. That might be a good idea. I'm just suggesting because we paid what $170 some thousand for the system. It'd be nice to see it working right. Not criticizing or complaining. I'm just saying.
Yep.
It's been months now.
On the same page.
Mr. Wiley, Shane Still just mentioned about the air-cooled system for these data centers. Is that something that we could have put in place to where it's not going to affect like the water supply as much? Legally, is that something we can do as a township, allowing it to be built in our township if it gets built?
I think I haven't seen an ordinance that dictates the method of cooling. And I think that when I think of that issue, I think of it as there's a wide range of technology that's available to people. Some are using a lot of water, and some use hardly any water. And I just think that it's not something that township really will dig into to try to determine exactly how that's addressed. Also, I think it's really up to the water purveyor. Last meeting, we got a similar question, and I pointed out that the Harrisburg water system, built in the 1940s, was designed for a capacity of 20 million gallons a day, and it uses about 7.5 million gallons a day. So there's plenty of capacity for the water company to address about whether it can provide that sort of supply. So that's really DEP, the Susquehanna River Basin Commission, in terms of withdrawals from the ground and returns, that sort of thing. So township doesn't necessarily have a place in saying you should use only this much water.
But with the certain, like for a data center, the construction of that, Doyle was asking, because on your profile it says concern is TMI, with that opening back up, from what I understand, the usage of water that they're projecting, and from what's actually going to happen, has increased dramatically from what they're projecting
Right.
in the beginning. So you said that there's extra supply of water.
Yeah.
It's not as much as you think. I don't believe. I'm not an expert in this stuff. I'm not going to act like I am. But there's a lot of issues, and the taxpayers are going to be the residents are going to be the ones that's going to suffer from this if we don't get things in place now.
Yeah.
And
My point.
there is a solicitor. I'm not. Okay, but there's certain things that we need to seriously look at instead of just waiting down the road to try to do this stuff to try to protect the residents the best we can.
Yeah, I think that's a really universal concern. Almost every time you hear something about data centers, you hear people concerned about the water. Again, I'll go back to the idea that the township has limited jurisdiction and it's not over water. So when the developer, think of it from the developer standpoint, comes in, he finds out who supplies public water to this site. Well, it's a publicly traded company that's regulated by the Public Utility Commission. So that company then has to figure out, can we get enough water to the site, or if how much water can we provide to the site? And that company will say, we can provide you, so many 100,000 gallons a day or something like that. Then the developer has to design his building to use the amount of water that's available. But none of that has anything to do with the township, although the township may share your concern. And we're really not empowered to say, you can only use 100 gallons a day or 200 gallons a day. The PUC or the DEP might have something to say about that. As you can see, it's complicated. If the Crane Clean Energy Center wants to withdraw water from the Susquehanna River, it's got to deal with the Susquehanna River Basin Commission and DEP. There's, the NRC, I think it is, that regulates the usage of the water for cooling, and there's a EPA rules on what the discharge of the water is, et cetera. So there's all these bodies that are in place already that have rules in place that address all this stuff. I think one of the main concerns is the question: if it uses a lot of water, will our water rates go up? It shouldn't, when you think about it, because the more sales you have, the better the economics are. But that's addressed by the PUC when the water company goes in for a rate case. There's nothing to do with the township, and there's no way the township can regulate it. But it's a legitimate concern, and there's a body that regulates it, the PUC.
From my understanding, in different areas that really have a lot of these centers, their utilities have jumped over a span of time.
Yeah, and
It's been rough enough for families, around here for sure. I know from my household. The utility rates, everything has gone up drastically.
I think. Yep. Go ahead.
And that's why when the state said about having your own cooling system rather than use our water supply, and possibly doing something instead of going to the main part of our electric grid, being able to figure something else out there too, would be beneficial for all of us.
Yeah. All I can say, I want to just add that the regulators seem to be on top of this now more than they were before because of the situations where the rates went up. So you saw people at the state and federal level saying, we're going to do everything we can with data center power to make sure that it's not costing the residents anything more, that the cost causers are the ones who are going to, pay those extra costs of power. And all of the transmission upgrades, the substation construction, all that stuff should be paid by the developer, not by the ratepayers. But that's all PUC stuff, not township stuff.
I understand that, but for the best interest for everyone that lives in this township, we need to seriously push for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other visitors' requests and comments at this time?
My name's Scott Dundorf. I live on Harrisburg. I live right down the street from this, proposal and that, and I'm concerned. Of our utility bills going up. I hear all that kind of stuff. That'd tick me off. If I was going to run a business, nobody else is going to be paying my stuff and biting the bullet on that stuff. And then also, everybody saying about the water. I was, a lot of stuff's just speculation. I don't know what's what, but some of the things, not just only the water usage, but also it's a wastewater. You can't just dump right back into the river. So that's a concern too in that. So I don't know. I'm right down the road, and I don't know. So, but I'm glad you guys are on top of things. It's not a simple thing, and it seems like it isn't a decision you guys made. The golf course sold wants to sell the property, and so it's just a transaction of business and money. So it's brutal. They have more money in their wallet than I do in mine. So, but I have a lot of concerns too. So thank you for listening to me.
Thank
you.
you.
Dundor, Dundore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Do we have any other visitors' requests and comments at this time? All right. Well, we're right at about 30 minutes, so that worked out. We're going to go ahead and move on to item 7. Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to amend the agenda, administrative item, item 9A, the date should say, 9A, excuse me, should say April 1st, 2026, and 9B should say April 18th, 2026.
we
So
have a-
just make a correction to the agenda for that. That's it.
Yep. I'll second. Do we have any discussion with regard to that second and that motion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so we've amended the agenda. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion with regard to the amended agenda? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. We're up to item 8, motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion with regard to items? Just for the public, the offer of conditional employment, that was on our agenda previously. The individual that it was offered to decided that they did not want to take the job. So now, we're going through the process to fill that position. And we have another person that is interested. So any further discussion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We're on to item 9, consideration of minutes.
Motion item 9A and B.
We have a motion for items 9A and B, and those are the regular meetings with the corrected dates for.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did miss the other
Let's
ones.
see,
Yeah, I
Could you
forgot
s-
those minutes too.
Okay.
So, Jen, if you'll amend that and add A, B, and C.
So I'll second. So we'll be approving the regular meeting minutes for April 1st, April 8th, and then there was a public hearing that was on April 8th. So all 3 sets of those minutes. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We're up to item 10, our Buildings and Code Department plan. So I'll turn it over to Director Golden.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam President, I'd like to introduce Brian Cyphers of St. John Properties. This is for the Swatara Exchange project. As of, I think last month or a few months ago, a few meetings ago, Madam President, you brought up about, the potential of developers making a contribution for maintenance because the township is ultimately responsible for taking over ownership of the traffic lights once installed at all developments. That's a PennDOT requirement. I did reach out to Mr. Cyphers of St. John Properties and asked if they would be interested in making a contribution, and I'm pleased to announce that they agreed. So, Brian, you want to? I'll let you take the glory here.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, everyone. I am Brian Cyphers. I'm a representative from St. John Properties. We are currently redeveloping the former Harrisburg Mall site, which will be known as Swatara Exchange. As Zach mentioned, I'm here tonight to make a donation. I'll share a little bit more about that in this letter that we have, and then I'm happy to provide a project update, kind of go through construction timeline. You can actually, it's a good time to have this up on the screen to reference, so thank you. All right, dear Board of Commissioners, on behalf of St. John Properties, I'm here today in connection with the Swatara Exchange project and the traffic signal upgrades to 3 existing traffic signals that will be completed as part of the project. In recognition of the importance of maintaining safe and efficient traffic operations along the Paxton Street corridor, our company would like to make a one-time voluntary contribution in the amount of $30,000 to the township to be applied toward maintenance of these new traffic signals on Paxton Street. We believe this contribution represents a meaningful investment in the surrounding transportation infrastructure. Our goal is to support the township's continued efforts to enhance traffic safety and functionality for residents, businesses, and visitors in this area. This contribution is made in good faith as part of our broader commitment to being a responsible development partner within Swatara Township. We appreciate the township's collaboration throughout this process, and we look forward to continuing to work together as the project advances. Do you want me to just roll into an update in terms of
Go
what's
ahead.
going on
and
up
then
here, and then
you can
feel
say,
free to jump in?
Yep.
All right, so looking at our site development plan that everybody can see on the screen, I'm just going to go through the 5 buildings that are part of Phase 1 that we started working on within the past couple weeks. So if you look at Building F, which is sort of in the middle of the screen there, that is 53 Enterprise. That's an 18,000 square foot inline retail building. That will be the future home of 2nd and Charles. We broke ground on that one on April 15th. So if you drove past there today, you could see all the footings, and then you'd see the first couple courses of block that have been laid by our masons. 3411 Paxton Street, which is Building H at the top of the screen between Applebee's and basically the rest of the Paxton Street retail corridor. We broke ground this past Monday on May 4th. That's a 10,725 square foot inline retail building as well. That will be a multi-tenanted retail building. As you can see on the left side, there's a drive-through. On the right side, there's a patio. And then we'll probably have a couple inline retail tenants in between as well. Lots of quick serve restaurants, fast casual food options. That's sort of what we envision for that building. And we are at least with one group on the drive-through side of the building, and then we have a number of other groups at LOI right now. 51 Enterprise, which is Building G to the left of Retail F. That's also a retail inline building. That one's 9,465 square feet. Also has a drive-through and a patio, and we'll probably break ground mid-summer of this year on that one. 55 Enterprise, Building E. That is our first of the multi-use flex buildings. That's a 47,000 square foot building, and that one we will break ground June 15th. We have a number of deals that we're working on that one. Given the history of retail at the project, we're seeing some quasi-retail groups come to the project, but also lots of groups that are interested in utilizing the front office facade portion of the building, and then the rear loading capacity as well. So we're seeing like a lot of groups that are kind of in that 50-50 warehouse to office ratio. 57 Enterprise, same type of product. That is Building D. That will share a service court with Building E, and that's a 56,000 square foot building. We'll be breaking ground on that one August 15th. All of these buildings take somewhere between 9 to 12 months to construct. Our goal is to deliver the first group of these buildings in Q1, Q2 of 27. And this would coincide with a lot of the leasing conversations that we're starting to have across all 5 buildings. Any questions?
You're not giving us any names here.
Any suggestions?
Like, I'm a foodie.
We're working very hard to get you some great options because
Okay.
I myself would like to eat at all of those places. Selfishly, if you knew what kind of food I like, you would know who we're targeting.
Okay.
And I like everything.
Well, I just want to say that on behalf of the board and the residents, we're very thankful for the contribution so that we're able to, do the maintenance with regard to the traffic lights, because that is something that has been, I don't necessarily want to say a burden because obviously we have to do that with regard to traffic signals, but it's not something that you can budget for per se.
Right.
So knowing that we have like a reserve fund that, we can use towards if and when there are issues that arise, that is greatly appreciated. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'm going to echo President Ellis's statement because I think from the beginning to the end, we've always had a good business relationship. When we ask for something, you've done it, and I think the public deserves to know that. Like one of the major things that we recognized was, would our residents be able to walk through your property? There was no problem for you to give up that easement. I mean, it just shows through and through that you have been a good partner to the township, whether it be the stormwater authority, the township, or the sewer authority. I mean, anytime we've asked for something to be changed to benefit our residents, you didn't balk back. You just agreed, and it happened. So I want to say we thank you for that.
Thank you.
I have a question on the 55E, the multi-use. Is there a number idea of how many tenants you would have, or is that just based on so could somebody take up the whole building? Is that an option, or?
That is an option.
Okay.
We are open to going as small as roughly 2,500 square feet, so a small bay group. In our portfolio in Maryland and some of the other states that we're in, you can see that in some of our buildings we have 10 different tenants across 10 or 20 different bays. However, it just depends on the project and the area and what types of tenants are looking to occupy the buildings. But the short answer is we're happy to lease space to groups that just want to occupy a smaller space and maybe want to start small and then kind of grow from there. But we're also happy to entertain mid-size and larger businesses.
So you build the shell, you have your size, and then you do the build out based on tenants. So you.
Yep.
So,
it's
say
a
it's not completely.
spec building. Yep.
Does it have to be completely occupied to finish it out, or, you say you have 80% filled? Is there just going to be another spot waiting for a tenant?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. And then the other thing I want to add is I'm the committee chair of code, zoning, and planning, and Vice President Steele definitely hit the nail on the head with the cooperation. And we unfortunately, and this is nothing necessarily to do with you, but we had a tragic situation with a pedestrian killed on Paxton Street. And I want the public to know that your project will have sidewalks the entire length of the property, and I believe even off of your property down to the sheets through a PennDOT. That's all going to be connected. And what we used to see for the commissioners that would sit up here, the developers would come in and say, well, we'd like a waiver on sidewalks. We'd like a waiver on curbs. We're not going to produce that much stormwater runoff, all these things. And from the very beginning, you've looked at it as a project that will be more or less the center of our community for years and years to come. People my age remember when the Harrisburg East Mall was new, and now it's gone. But we still have that beautiful location, that beautiful property, and I think you're doing a great job with the things that'll help your business and then help generate money for the township. But you're also doing things for safety and things that we need, and I think that the community deserves that you don't always see in development. So I think I speak for the whole board. We absolutely love the partnership and the honesty, the transparency from the very beginning. It's a tough situation when you have a landmark like that that everybody was attached to in this community, and then all of a sudden you start hearing there's a lot of they are tearing it down, they're doing this, you're letting them do these things. and you could have sold the property. Probably could have walked away. There could have been blight. So we're really happy that St. John's was the owner at the time that decisions had to be made. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's not necessarily how this is set up. Yeah. We're trying to yeah.
No comment on that one at this time.
Yeah.
I'm on board with you, brother.
We'll share when we can.
They won't tell us.
Yeah. Well, yeah. As soon as we know, you'll know. Yeah. That's at this point. That's all I can say at this point too. Yeah. So, does anyone have anything else with regard to questions or comments?
Do you want to take any pictures?
For what?
Do you want to take any pictures?
Yeah, I think we should.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
How about we all go out front? Is it that way? Scott, you knew I was going to bug you. We got our.
It just did. We have it right now.
You just want to hold the hand. It's up to you. As long as people can see.
Oh no, buddy.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, I can handle most of it. All right, tying into the next item. It still has to do with the Swatara exchange. So a few months ago, when the land development was approved, they provided us a pedestrian easement. However, with PennDOT, their HOP process with PennDOT, and also there's caverns underneath most of this property. Hello, there we go. So they had to move the sidewalks a little bit. So they are requesting, and we are required to provide an amendment here. As you can see on the screen, they did a really good job of having an exhibit of the old pedestrian easement in blue, and then the red shows the minor adjustments, and it's very, very minor. So we recommend approval of this amendment.
I'll make that a motion.
Well, I have a question about the caverns. Like,
Let's do the motion in a
yeah, let's
second,
do
and
the
then go
motion.
ahead.
Okay.
You're good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
All right, these are caverns. I don't know if maybe director, if you can probably explain more about these caverns, how deep they are, how wide they are. Are we doing anything to help support? Because as we all know, we're all not strangers. What happened in I think the off ramp in Harrisburg, how it collapsed.
Sinkhole.
So that sinkhole, yeah. So I just want to look in the future. Safety for all the pedestrians, and we don't have pedestrians walking there. Because now that they know, and they say, I'm going to definitely avoid that part of the sidewalk. So what can we do to give the township some warm and fuzzy that we are definitely taking into consideration?
I know this has caused St. John's a lot of headaches. I believe from what I heard from, I believe, Tess and others, there's a lot of caverns there. They've mapped the majority of them, but I'll defer to Brian.
Yeah, we've performed multiple geotech reports and reviewed where the caverns are. Most of them are, and I'm just sort of going from memory here, are more so in the parking lot on like the Bass Pro side of the building where there's not really anything new going anyway. And that's sort of part of the reason for making some of these minor tweaks. But for the most part, where the mall is, and I'm just kind of, or where the mall was, I'm just kind of anecdotally speaking, I don't even think there was really much over there. So we're happy to provide those reports. I'm assuming we probably already have, but
Right. Yeah, and he's right. It's more towards the right side of the property where the buildings are not going to be located. That's why they had to shift the road over to the left.
And then just for the public too, those caverns were there when the mall was there.
Right.
correct.
So it's not something that, is a new thing. Something that was new to me. I didn't know that until um what, a few years ago when we were talking about this development. I wasn't, because, I am not old enough to remember when the mall was new. I'll throw that out there.
Take that as an insult.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was something that I learned through this process, that there were caverns, and I believe it was a resident that actually came up and said it, and then found out that that was accurate. So, does anyone have any other questions with regard to the amendment to the pedestrian easements? All right. So then, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Then that is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for being here tonight.
All right. Moving right along. So this is the consideration of a resolution for the final minor land development plan for Rutherford Lot 234. I'll allow Mr. Matthew Fisher to give a presentation.
Good evening, Matt Fisher with RJ Fish and Associates. Before we get into this real quick, I just wanted to mention something. I serve on the Cumberland County Planning Commission. Recently, we just hosted a data center information session. About 2.5 hours where brought both data center developers, Susquehanna River Basin Commission, rep from the PUC. I think it'd be great if anyone didn't watch it, for either the board or your residents, to just know that's out there on the Cumberland County's YouTube page.
Yeah, and I'm on the CAPCOG that we meet over at Hampton,
Okay.
and working with them and talking with them. I think that's something that we want to have here, a public session.
Yeah.
Informational for elected officials, residents.
Yeah.
And I think every in your role, but every municipality is facing the same issues right now, and
it seems to have come out of left field almost.
Yeah, and
last couple of years, it's been a lot.
there's a lot of misinformation, but there's a lot of really good questions and concerns from the public. So I'd like to probably know Gary Myers with CAPCOG, but I want to talk to him about having a session or maybe something like that. If not sponsored by the CAPCOG, we would do it here. We feel like Camp Hill has the Storm Fest for stormwater, so we can at least get something on our side. So,
Do a data center fest.
thank you for bringing. Yeah, that would bring some people out.
I'm sure it would. Yeah.
And the Storm Fest does have things for all ages and food trucks. I don't know if this subject would be as inviting, but it definitely is as important.
Yeah.
So, but
I at least want to make sure I mentioned that because it seems like it's a hot topic.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Getting into this proposal, this is a proposal we're doing for McNaughton Development. It's a 4-unit townhouse on a vacant lot at the Rutherford area up on 62nd Street. Had a couple PC meetings we went through. One of the big revisions we went through is after we got infiltration testing done, there was basically no infiltration. So we kind of had to pivot the whole stormwater design to a managed release concept. That's consistent with the whole DEP guidance currently. Again, we went through a couple iterations with the township engineer. Just submitted plans a couple days ago, so we don't have current comment letters back. but we feel pretty confident that we resubmitted the plans, addressed the comment letters that were outstanding, and any minor remaining ones, we're more than happy to work with staff. We didn't see anything that was of any concern on the plans. So happy to open that to any questions the board may have.
Yep.
Yep, sir. So this project is located in the general commercial zoning district. The official address is 61 North 62nd Street. As Mr. Fisher said, this is a final minor land development plan. The Planning Commission did review this plan multiple meetings, but they recommended approval of a waiver of the preliminary plan, which is standard, and also recommended approval of the plan with the conditions stated in your memo. Mr. Fisher's correct. They resubmitted the plans, was it Friday or Monday? I forget. Monday. We have not had a chance to review the revisions yet. However, we did meet with our stormwater engineer, with Mr. Fisher. We went over all the comments. It seems like there's a lot of comments in your packet. However, they've been addressed, and our stormwater engineer is confident that he can address those administratively. And there was a few zoning comments. However, they're extremely minor in nature, and I'm comfortable handling those administratively. They were just minor street tree names and everything else. So Dahlwood, or now called Wolpert, reviewed it as well. The county reviewed it, so it's ripe for approval. We're recommending approval with the conditions outlined.
Thank you. Then I will entertain a motion.
There were waivers, weren't there, Zach?
Yeah.
Just one for the preliminary plan. Oh, one more thing. I would like to thank Mr. McNaughton and also Mr. Fisher. There is a section of sidewalk on the neighbor's property within the right-of-way. It's about 11 feet or so. We had a meeting with them, and they volunteered to put the sidewalk in at their cost. So now it's going to be a connected sidewalk. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, motion to approve resolution with the waiver.
Second.
She beat you.
Fight over it.
Yep.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion or questions at this time? Anyone?
No, I just wanted, since we had some questions earlier tonight about another situation, I just want to say that there's, not going to read them, but for the public, there's 12 conditions placed on this. So I think kind of what we're facing with a lot of people is they think that someone comes in and automatically, gets to do what they want. So, between your professional, position there and Zach here and Tri-County Regional and all these things, everything basically gets worked out to the point where the things that are still being worked on go in as conditions that have to be met. Yep. So, and when we vote on it or it's an agenda item, the public doesn't see that. So I'm not singling you out. I'm just using that as information.
Understood. Yeah.
That's all I have.
All right. Does anyone have anything else? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that's going to be resolution R-2026-18.
18. Okay. So for D, it's a financial security reduction for 1662 South Cameron Street. This is
If
capital.
you'll hold off a second, Zach, I'll just make a motion for all of them. You can explain them all at the
Sure.
same time if Madam President's okay with that. Motion for D, E, F, as long as they satisfied all township requirements.
Second.
Okay.
So the first one is for Capital Region Water. The second is a financial security reduction for 1017 Chambers Street. This is for a single-family dwelling. And then the final is a release for 8675 Paxton Street. This is the wastewater treatment plant project for the township's sewer authority. The engineer has reviewed all three, are recommending 2 reductions and 1 release, and so are we.
All right. We have the motion and the second. Do we have any discussion or questions with regard to any of these 3 items? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So items D, E, and F are approved, and we're up to item 10G. We have
Second.
a motion. We have a second. And then we'll go ahead and let Director Golden give just a brief overview.
Yes.
Um,
So at your last meeting, we brought forth the idea. There we go. We brought forth the idea of licensure and taxes on skill games. So the board unanimously agreed to allow the solicitor to draft an ordinance. There is now an ordinance before you that staff is recommending, and I can turn it over to Solicitor Weiland to explain.
Just to be advertised, though, right?
Just to be advertised.
Right.
Yeah, the draft is before you. We'll actually have some guidance next week to the board members about it. Right now, it's just an authorization to advertise it.
Understood. Does anyone have any questions or discussion at this time with regard to advertising the ordinance?
Just and Scott, I don't know if you would know this or not, but just for this part of the ordinance, obviously that would run through Zach's office. Would these skill games also fall under BP or no? Under what? Business privilege tax. Or are they exempt from that?
Generally, the businesses themselves that generate revenue are taxed that way. So, yes.
So they're relevant too. Okay.
All right. Anyone have anything else? All right. Hearing nothing. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Up to item 11, consideration of resolution, removal of special purpose parking.
Motion.
Have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. And just for the public, there was special purpose parking at this address and it is no longer needed. So it's as simple as that. Do we have any discussion? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's going to be resolution R-2026-19. All right, we're up to item 12, approval of MOU with Harrisburg School District to provide a police officer for a prom event.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Lieutenant Chateau, are you able to give just a brief overview for the public for this request?
I am. Thank you, Madam President. The Harrisburg City School District and their security professionals requested our assistance to provide safety and security to assist with the Harrisburg High School prom, which is scheduled to take place at the Red Lion Hotel. And the Chief Stauffer has been working with our solicitor in the Harrisburg City School District's solicitors. They drafted a memorandum of understanding of how that will be agreed upon and regulated to ensure that our officers will be properly vetted and working according to the expectations of the school district. And also the school district event will be meeting the expectations of the Swatara Township Police Department and Swatara Township. It's in the essence of safety that we have the officer presence there just to prevent any potential problems. I think it enhances the safety and also the enjoyment of the event if we can take a proactive approach to prevent any problems that might follow the students. Typically, the students that are there don't cause problems, but a lot of other ancillary folks do like to come there and potentially cause problems from the outside. So the agreement has been reached between the township and the school district. And we, on behalf of the police department, are glad to be able to provide this service.
Thank you. And then I do have a question. Just, I see in here that there's payment for service just for the public so that the school district will be covering the cost for, I saw at least for overtime.
That is correct.
For the officers.
And there will be, they did request a significant number of officers to help. The school district will reimburse Swatara Township all expenses incurred for the additional police officers to provide security.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments at this time?
Yes, I do. I'm looking at the proposal for this. Are Harrisburg police officers going to contribute embodiments with this that you know of?
I do not know. I do not know the involvement with the Harrisburg Police Department and the Harrisburg City Schools.
Okay.
So I do not know their level of involvement. Our agreement is with the school district themselves and with our police department. The event is occurring here in Swatara Township, so we will be responsible for the safety and security of the event. We will be coordinating though with all other involved agencies, probation, parole, any other organizations that we share intelligence with. So we'll do a detailed threat assessment as part of our operational planning, and we'll be sharing information with all involved agencies.
My recommendations to the Swatara Township residents, be mindful of traffic and obey all rules on May 9th. They're out there. Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
And every day.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't be giving away our
Yeah,
information.
but especially on May 9th, apparently.
Oh.
All right. Does anyone have anything else at this time? That was. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So that agreement is approved. And we're up to item 13, approval of Wolpert Dawood Engineering rates for 2026. So I'll make the motion.
Oh, second.
And by way of discussion, there is a resolution that goes with this as well that is not in the packet, and that I apologize for that. That's on me for not including it. But this is just so that we have something on record with Wolpert. That's something that they're doing now that Dawood didn't do in the past. But yeah, just to make sure that we have something that the board acted on that goes over what the rates will be. Does anyone have any discussion or questions at this time?
Just for the public, Dawood Engineering was township engineer that we appointed this year. They've been the township engineer for a while. Probably a lot of people are familiar with Dawood. They're based here in central Pennsylvania, and they've grown and been very successful. And now they've been purchased by a worldwide company, Wolpert. So we still deal with the same people at Dawood, and they still have the same building in the area, but they'll be switching basically their parent company. So the agreements that we had with them are now being transferred over to Wolpert, and that's why we're doing this now. And it's pretty much I guess a recent acquisition to get to the point where we have to do this, but we are still basically all the projects we have going and all the work that we're doing right now is still the Dawood staff that we've been working with. They've just been acquired by a bigger company.
And then with regard to the rates, I did review and compare, and there are some things that have gone up slightly, but there are other things that have gone down. So it's essentially, business as usual. So does anyone have any questions or discussion at this time? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. All right. That passes 4-1. We're up to item 14, appointments to boards and commissions. This is on our agenda every meeting. We don't have any openings for appointments, so we'll just move on. We're up to item 15, our second visitors' requests and comments. And as before, if you have comments, please come forward, state your name and address, as well as write them down, and then you may begin. I don't see a rush on the mic. So we'll move on. We're up to item 16, possible stormwater violations for investigation. This is also on every agenda and for people in the public, because we have some people that aren't usually here. If there ever is an issue with stormwater, you can always send something into the township and address it. So we'll go on to 17 now, commissioners' requests and comments, additional business and correspondence. And we'll start with Commissioner Douglas.
thank you everyone for coming out. I am not going to, as they say, beat the dead horse on this with the data centers. But all your concerns, I have them. I'm doing my research. I know I've said that, and I'm regurgitating everything I've said. There are the beginning and middle and end, so to speak. So as everyone said, we need to start now. There's actually a whole lot more going into it that I would love to discuss with any of you personally. You want me to come out to your town hall meetings? I will. I cannot speak on behalf of everyone here on the board. If you want me there, by all means, send an email. If you want to know exactly my thoughts, trust me, you don't have enough time tonight, but you know exactly my thoughts on this. But thank you for coming out, and please get home safely. That's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Ray?
Good evening, all. Thank you all for being here tonight. And we really appreciate your presence. And thank you. Have a wonderful good night.
Thank you. Commissioner Connolly?
Yeah, just as a student in the Harrisburg School District for many years of my life, I appreciate the fact that we have the opportunity to protect their prom this year that they're having here in Swatara Township. So I think that was a good presentation, Lieutenant Chateau. And just to be clear, the students generally not a problem, and it happens with all the schools. Unfortunately, usually there's somebody who's there that doesn't share the same celebratory feelings, and an issue comes up. And I love the fact that everyone's taking the steps to protect the people that are there. So appreciate that. And I had this on before the comments tonight. I want to say that we're all in a position here that was really beyond our control. We have this thing that's going on with the data centers. A couple of years ago, this was not a conversation point. People didn't really talk about it, didn't know about it, and now we're kind of in a holding pattern because we have private property that sold. I will say this: this proposal during my time on the board, and maybe a little bit before that, I was thinking about it. This is the fifth proposal that I was aware of on the Stein farm, and the other four didn't happen. It's been talked about anything from residential to a senior living center to retail, hospitality, distribution, warehousing, all those types of things. None of those plans ever happened. But the one thing that was consistent is the family that owned it, and then the people that came up behind that family weren't interested in farming it. So it had been talked about years ago to try to preserve agriculture and farming. People own the land, and they made the decision that that's not something they were interested in. So I will say, as a community outreach, we were taking staff down to do some more research to Loudoun County, county in Virginia that has 200 data centers. So we're going to take about 6 staff members, and we couldn't really figure out a vehicle situation that 6 adults would be comfortable in. And then we thought about 2, and then we decided to get a bigger vehicle. So if you live basically in the area of either the golf course or the old Stein farm, we did outreach. As soon as we found out that the bus was available, it was hard for us to get a shuttle style bus. It was 20 passengers, seating capability because of field trips. We didn't realize we were in competition with kids all over the place. So once it was confirmed that we could get a bigger vehicle, Zach had made up a flyer, Zach and Kevin, the manager here, and then we got it to some residents. So there was some confusion that people thought that, they got invited at the last minute. They got invited at the first minute. Like, we got the paper in the morning and got our staff organized. And then I think it was with a couple days notice, maybe a Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning, we got that paper out, and we had some residents take advantage of it, and we had some good conversations with residents to address the concerns. We realized that the concerns don't stop in those neighborhoods, so everyone wasn't necessarily invited, but we thought that those people would be impacted the most and had the most concerns. And we heard from two residents tonight. Uh, well, we had two residents come to the microphone. I think we heard from one of the residents. They went on the trip, and they live on a different street. They don't even actually live. You know, I was not going to say it for the but they live in the general area, but not very very close to either site. But they had a lot of concerns and they were asking questions, so we offered it to them and they took advantage of it. So and we'll continue to do that. Anything we can do to educate, any information we get, we'll get out. And any time there's something that concerns us, we will certainly protect and defend our interests here in Swatara Township. I'd like to thank everybody that came out for our 13th annual Earth Day. This year it was kind of a rainy, damp day. We just got in our program before the rains hit, but we had a decent turnout again this year. The senior fair was absolutely incredible. Uh, Definitely in the range of 500-600 people, over 100 vendors. The LCBC is a wonderful location. Unfortunately, we might be looking at maybe having to move it to a bigger place, but they've been an incredible host. And if there's any way we could keep it there, we would. Thanks to everybody involved in that. Our police department, Detective Seiler, our community resource officer, Brandon Pocrop, Vice President Steele is the chair of the senior committee. So I'd like to say thank you. That was absolutely incredible event again this year. And I'll just touch on Wilhelm Paxtang had their opening day for baseball here in the community. Good crowd there, good weather day. We appreciate the organizers and the coaches at Wilhelm Paxtang, the parents for coming out. At that opening day, there was a second event, which was the installation of an AED at the Donald Taylor Park, right there in the restroom area. The Peyton Walker Foundation locally is trying to get these AEDs into many outdoor recreation spots. We have two more places in the township. If anybody's interested in donating or looking them up, it's the Peyton Walker Foundation. There's an outreach person, Carly Furlow, that really makes this project from her heart. So we were happy to get that in the park there in Swatara Township at Donald Taylor Park. And at this point, I think that's all I have. Thanks everybody for coming out, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Vice President Steele.
Thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you that came out today and joined us in person and also online. I'm going to touch on the data centers very, very quickly here. Zach, if you could, I don't know how we can vet the information that the residents are asking for, because I don't want information online to incite fear, because there's a lot of information out there that is just disinformation, isn't true. So if some way we could maybe reach out to that gentleman that was here and a couple other resources, that the information that we do put online to our residents is accurate, so they have something to actually make an informed decision of. And that leads me to my next point. A lot of my research has been done by the information that the residents have given me, and some of my own research, whether it be the ordinances, other locations, photos, things of that nature. So I say keep sending the information. And the only thing I ask is, there's, I don't think they call it Twitter anymore. It's called X. And then you got Facebook and all the different things that are going on in the township. And there are some bad actors that just want to incite fear because they're fearful of what's to come. And just be mindful of that you get good information and that you pass on good information. I think tonight was the beginning of a great engagement for the elected officials in the community. I've always been an individual, even prior to being elected, that if it's your property, you do what you feel necessary to do with your property within the confines of the law. I've never been an individual to dictate what should be done on your own private property, and I will never be that type of individual. That being said, I think there needs to be, and I think everyone on this board understands that, there are some restrictions that need to be put in place that are within our jurisdiction, and we will be mindful to that. Now, I'm just going to speak just for myself because obviously I am the chairman of sewer and I'm the chairman of stormwater and the vice president here. Um, Anywhere that I chair or work with another board, since being elected, I've always said that the residents will not pay the way of any developer, and I will stand tall on that one. In no way, shape, or form will I ever vote for an agreement, negotiate agreement where it's going to be on the backs of the residents. If a developer wants to come here and develop, they're going to develop on their own dime and not yours. There are some things that are out of our control that is consistently discussed. And I wish we could control it, but we don't have our own power authority. We don't have our own water authority. So when you do hear that online, know that that's a false narrative. That is strictly controlled by the state and the PUC. And I hear you loud and clear because I have a PP&L bill, and and I have an energy efficient house that we just built in 2019. And sometimes I look at it and I'm like, my God, what's going on here? So I want to real quickly talk about some of the research I did with power, and because I had the same understanding. I thought, my God, a data center comes, our rates are going to go up. What's happening at the national level? So as you dig into it, and do your own research, but as you dig into it a little bit more, you will find out some of the things that I said previously. A lot of the increases are due to infrastructure upgrades. We pay the cost of the burden of where storms might be down south because they go into our transmission lines and things like that. But our grid is old, and a lot of people don't understand that. Like our power grid, our water infrastructure, our sewer infrastructure, it is very old, and you have to pay for those upgrades. And I wish the state, in some way, shape, or form, would create something or legislation that would help us as residents, because when you look at the rates, and the rate increases primarily have been on residential, not commercial and industrial, when you do your research. So I say to you, reach out to your state legislator, your state senators, the governor's office, and tell them create some type of legislation that if they're getting funding or tax breaks from the state, that when they do infrastructure upgrades, that you get locked into pricing for a certain amount of time. And just to give you somewhat of an example of what we go through, I mean, we only get a portion of a gas facility that sits in Swatara Township that's considered a public utilities company. We can't tax them under BP. The state takes the tax under Purita tax and trickles that down to other municipal governments. So just be mindful again of the information that's put out there. As far as the golf course, a gentleman had a great comment the other day. I mean, I'm not in favor of either or, but I know some of you are concerned out there at the golf course, but look into the toxins that are put into the ground at that golf course. You would be surprised. And I never thought about that. And I grew up in, I mean, I see some familiar faces here. I grew up here, you know, a long time, but I never thought about the level of toxins that are put into a golf course to maintain a golf course. So just be mindful of that. Other than that, I want to say this too. Please continue to come because it's nice seeing participation in your local government, even if we're not going to talk about data centers. It's good to see you here. It's good to see you involved, and a lot of the problems that go on in government can be fixed if we represent you, we serve you. So, I mean, speak up. I'm gonna real briefly touch on the events that happened this over the past week. Before Gavin Ford, you guys did an outstanding job at the Wilhelm Paxtang. That thing seems to be just continuing to keep growing. The food trucks were awesome. Just give me a couple more because I like I like to try more than one dinner. But no, man, you and your volunteers did an outstanding job. We really enjoyed ourselves, and I think I guess, and the teams are growing now too. So you're getting more and more. That's good. 12 teams. Okay, so that's good, man. Just keep up the good work, and wherever, obviously, we partner with you to help you a little bit. So wherever we can partner with you and your organization, please do not hesitate to reach out because we're here as a partner. The senior fair, wow. I think there was more than 500 there, man. I think honestly, I think there was several thousand in and out of that door. And if you have not been to the senior fair, it's an event to go to. And yes, we had 100+ vendors, and we're probably going to. I mean, we don't want to, but we're busting at the seams at that. So we'll probably have to look at a different venue within Swatara Township just to fit the entire venue. Earth Day cleanup. I think there's still more to do, but the crew that came out, if you look outside, the flowers that were planted, the weeds that were picked, the tan bark that was laid down. Kevin, we appreciate you dumping the tan bark. You did a good job driving around the truck too, man. Without you and the crew there, we wouldn't have been able to do that. And that's all I have. Tonight, have a good night and drive safely. Thank you.
Thank you. Um, I'll be brief. I just want to thank all of the township staff and the different commissioners that sit on the committees that had all of the events that took place for last month. You guys always do a good job and you are appreciated. I also do want to share at one of the meetings last month, we had a resident that came to the microphone and asked about reaching out to the Attorney General's office with regard to the Friendship Fire Company of Bressler to get a status to see if they would update our board with regard to their investigation. I sent the email on April 9th. I heard back on the 28th, and it just reads, my apologies for the delay in following up with you. As indicated last summer, all materials regarding the Friendship Fire Company of Bressler and the Bressler Club are currently under review. That's all that I got. I did respond back and say whenever your office has completed its review, our board would be interested in going over the findings. So that's where that's at. So I wanted to make sure that I shared that. And I had the opportunity to attend the opening day at Wilhelm Paxtang this weekend as well, and everyone said how great it was. That is my experience as well. And I do want to say good luck to all of the kids that have their upcoming softball and baseball, t-ball seasons. Now that pretty much every organization has done their opening days. And I also want to say happy Mother's Day to anyone that mothers. You don't have to have had a child to be motherly. So I just want to make sure that I said that I'm surprised that it made it all the way to me without anyone saying it. But on behalf of the board, we want to wish all those that mother a happy Mother's Day. And I do want to say thank you to the people that came out today. As other fellow board members have said, we always appreciate when there are new faces that come to the meetings. Don't be a stranger. Come back and see us again. We talk about a lot of things, obviously, that affect you guys. So if you can't attend, these meetings are online on YouTube, on Facebook, and things like that. So you do have the opportunity to go back and watch them if there is something that you missed. So again, thank you for taking the time to be here and engage with us. And please come back. I hope everyone that is here gets home safely. And thank everyone that takes the time to watch these. So that's all I have. I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
A
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.